Hello and welcome to this devlog. So I've started a new project and I thought I'll just do some recording while I'm attempting the next job. So for about half an hour, that's what you got, me coding some JavaScript for this new project. So let me just tell you about it. I'm calling it SpaceBlit and we're on version 0.2 at the moment as of June the 1st, 2018. Hello from the future if you're watching in the future. And what do I want to do? So I want to create it's obviously a space kind of game. It's 3D. I'm using P5 library and WebGL. P5 you can use WebGL. And let's just restart it. We'll get some different music. I've got like a very basic music system working, so it randomly picks a track of I've got about 3 or 4 at the moment. Oh yeah, I can just about hear this one. I don't know whether the music will pick up on the mic or not. Shall I make it slightly louder? Okay. Maybe that's made it deafening, I'm not sure. That's a good point actually. If it is deafening, this whole video will be ruined. So let's just turn that down, just in case. Okay, right. Hopefully that's okay. So let me tell you about this project. So I started it yesterday, and I'm not too disappointed with the progress. So I'm controlling this little ship in the top left. I'll put him in the top left and then turn around. There we go. So that's me. And so what I wanted to happen is every ship or craft can be made up of voxels or cubes. And I thought it'd be fun if you could create your own ship in like an editor and then fly it around. It's a bit more interesting if you can make up your own kind of ship or thing or something like that. Also, I don't know why, but it's kind of fun to be able to, I was going to say swim, to fly around a universe and have it procedurally generate like No Man's Sky. So I wanted to have something like that. I've also got this is a basic planet that I'm almost flying into. There we go. Basic planet. I've put like a kind of like alien structure around it. I was just yesterday just fiddling around with loads of things, and I'd really recommend that if you're starting a new project and not quite sure what to do. Maybe before going to paper, just get some code down and just go and play with a load of things. And I was pleased with the progress yesterday. So I had a basic idea. I knew it was going to be in space. That's kind of not strictly true. It's kind of in space. Kind of mixed with, let's just say, like a computer world, a computer virtual world, and space kind of mixed together. That's the idea. Aesthetically, as well as a kind of theme, I guess, or the premise of the game. But the next step in this half an hour, I'd love to get started with creating the ship editor system. If we just come out into the code, at the moment I've just got 2 files. I've got SpaceBlit, the main file, and my voxel cybernetics script. Voxel cybernetics, I'm just meaning the vehicles that are made up of voxels. And in there I've got 2 classes. I've got the cyber, which is a vehicle, so a ship would be a vehicle. And then what it does, it makes itself out of voxels. So it's got an array of voxels that it goes and builds itself out of. So this class system, this object-oriented programming here, is what I've done today. And yesterday I basically had everything working as you saw it, but today I've just made it OOP so that I can have hundreds of ships on the screen and things like that. Probably not hundreds. Probably about 30. I am using JavaScript in a browser, and I'm not optimizing it very well. Okay, so what was I just about to do? Oh yes, back in the main file. Here, I'm building the first ship in the array. So I'm creating, with this for loop, I'm creating 9 cybers, 9 little ships. Then I'm giving them a random position on the screen, and then I'm pushing them to the cybers array. So there's an array of cybers called cybers. Each individual one is called a cyber. So that's the class. And then I'm allowing the player to control the first cyber on the array, so cyber index 0. And if you pass in a 0 here, as I've commented, we'll get a default Tetrix kind of design. So it looks like a little Tetris piece. All the other ships were Tetrix design ships. But if I put in a 1, then it's going to be like a cube design of ship. And that's what I wanted to do here. Just to show you. Right. We'll load it up again. Hopefully you saw the way the planet there kind of like springs towards you. I'm using lerp to do that, which is a nice function, which is linear interpolation, which means you can have something move from a source to a target in a nice smooth way. So the closer it gets, kind of the slower it will move. Right, so here you can see my ship is now just a random assortment of those voxels. So I've kind of got everything in place in terms of, oh, I was just going to mention, I'm also planning on allowing people to use this on a touchscreen. So if you use your mouse, you can turn the ship left or right, it steers it. Or you can use arrow keys or WSAD, and then forwards thrusts you, or if you press down, you can thrust forward as well, like that. So you can use it on maybe mobile phones and things. I haven't really tested it too much on a mobile phone yet. But there we go. Right, so I need like a draw pad so you can see. Where can I do some drawing? Maybe here. Hinter. Let's use that. So I want an editor. I want to be able... Oh, I just overlaid. Hello, I'm back again. I want to have something like this. Am I in draw mode? Yeah. So I want to have on screen like a grid, and then you'll be able to say with your resources, so maybe you're given, I don't know, at the very start, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 voxels, then you get to choose where you want to put your voxels in terms of your ship. Each voxel ship has what I'm calling at the moment a base block. So this governs where the ship will steer from. So I've got that programmed in. But then, can I just draw a block or something? There we go, that. I've got it filled. Full shape, yeah. So, and then you could like choose how you're, or choose where you're going to put your voxels, so you can design your ship. So you could do something like that. But I'm also imagining like kind of like curved ships and all this kind of thing. Yeah, so that's what I want to appear on screen. And then thinking about what I just said about maybe having a touch screen, but also some people playing it on the computer. I want to have a system that will allow you to use a touch screen and a mouse very easily. So maybe all I'll say is when you touch a place on the grid, then that will fill up with a voxel if you've got some voxels left. And maybe when you click a voxel, it then disappears. Yeah, that should make sense. And then the programming behind it. So does that make sense? I want to make a grid. How big do I want these ships? Maybe 32 by 32. Just picking a number out of the air for what feels about, well, not completely out of the air, that feels about right in terms of having like giant ships and things. Also, it'd be cool if the player would only ever have, say, 32 by 32, but then with access to the code, I could build ships for any size that I wanted to. That'd be a really nice experience if you're like playing the game and then you see like this giant ship move past, and you know that you can't make it on the editor. That'd be nice. And also because we've got voxels, we can, if a ship for whatever reason runs out of energy or something like that, its voxels could like fall apart. Also, very importantly, in terms of the premise, the design for this project, I didn't want any shooting, so I don't want any like weapons or anything like that in this space game simulation thing. I wanted I wanted it to be more about discovery and exploration, and not really mining, but I've also got this idea of, I've got like a strong sense of story and discovery. So another system, if I keep these videos going, this little devlog going, it'll be really nice to have a nice text system, which I've only programmed one very simple text system at the moment using P5 and JavaScript, so that's something to look at. But yeah, that was something really important that I just had to mention in terms of like the design of the whole project. So yeah, we want this to appear on screen. So for that, we're going to have different game modes. At the moment, I've just got the one game mode. It just runs a loop and then displays what everyone's seen on the screen. Also, I'm using like several layers. So I've got the stars behind the ships and the planets. Then I've got a planet layer. Then I've got the ship, and the other ships are drawn to the ship layer. So it's got like 3 rendering layers. That means, and I'm doing that because, let's explain it with this. So in P5 you could write create graphics, and that creates like a canvas area, but it's not actually on the screen. But then you can save that in a variable, and then you can use image to paint that canvas, that area, onto your main canvas. So you can kind of like buffer drawings and things like that. So what I do is I create a buffer, and I call it my like star layer, and then I create a load of stars, and then I paint that image to, God, this is very, very laggy. I'm gonna have to find a new paint program, and then I paint that to the main canvas, which I'll label with C. There we go. So each draw loop, I'm just painting one image to the screen, which is a lot quicker, I think, than having a for loop to do hundreds of stars onto the screen every single loop. So that's what I'm doing there. I'm doing something similar for planets as well. At the moment, you'll notice whenever, actually, let's just run the game. Whenever I go to a different sector, so if I leave the screen, I've screen wrapped the ship at the moment, and then I generate a new image for the stars. So if I go down the bottom here, you'll notice stars change position, so it gives the impression that you're moving to like a different sector. But what's destroying that illusion is that this planet always appears, whatever, it doesn't matter what sector you're in, and I'm not keeping a track of what sector I'm in. So sectors don't actually exist at the moment. We've just got the illusion of the stars changing their positions. Just to illustrate the layers thing going on. So obviously I'm in front of all the stars, and I'm in front of the planet, which has got 2 moons, by the way, that are orbiting, and that's actually orbiting in 3 dimensions. I've made fairly recently some tutorials on how to get planets and moons rotating in 3D, so go and find those if you're interested in how to do that. But I have got one layer that's actually drawn over the top of the ships, so that's these little yellow specks. But I just kind of like the look of it, and it kind of like added to the 3D sense, because I am keeping on like one layer, so it's kind of like 2D but using 3D models and things like that. I might in the future allow your ship to like move in the Z direction as well, but I've chosen to keep things simple at the moment. Right, and this is day 2, by the way. Day 1 I've got all this going, and day 2 object orientated. Right, so let's get, apologies again if the music was really loud. If it's too loud, I won't be able to upload this video. Right, I've got about 10 minutes to go. Right, so here's the main file. I also need to refactor this. I need to put a lot of this legacy stuff in. I usually make like a text document. I've got a credits document. I'm keeping track. This is a good idea. If you're using music, obviously you want to find music that's public domain or attribution. only, things like that. So I'm keeping a track of all this music. Cynic music, fantastic. I'm loving this guy. I've used loads and loads of his stuff, or her stuff. I think it's a he. Which he developed for something called Pixel Sphere. Go and check out that game. It looks very, very good. It's like a music-based game. It looked very good. I haven't played it yet, but he developed the music, or she. It still could be a she. I haven't checked it out for that game. So it's brilliant. Right. So I'm avoiding doing what I'm here to do. I'm avoiding doing the coding. Okay. So what I'm looking for is the main game loop. I'm just thinking, shall I just tidy this up? No, I'll do that in another video. That will have to be a job that I either do off camera or next time. It's probably an off camera job, isn't it? Yeah. Maybe this whole video is an off camera thing. Right. Function draw. So this is the draw loop. In P5, the draw loop just goes around and around and around. This is a little delta time equation. That means delta time. If you haven't done any Unity programming or any other program, delta time is a value that relates to like your frame rate, so that if you've got a lower frame rate on a different device, the delta time adjusts for that, so that your ships or whatever will move at the same speed on whatever computer that you're using, whatever device that you're using, which I haven't used before, but there you go, that's all you need. And then you multiply delta time by maybe your ship speed, something like that, to keep it constant over all devices. Right, look at this, it's a very messy game loop. It was just like this for a long time. And here I'm just like applying the different layers. But now I'm adding the different ships and things like this. But essentially, we don't want to do any of this. We don't want to draw to our screen. Maybe just the stars, unless we're in the right game mode. So we want to say something like... Oh, we could also change the music track when we're in like editing mode. I don't know. Right. So let's go from about here. Let's say if game mode equals 0. So 0 will be our like ship editing mode. Then you can, we'll redraw the background. So this is just painting to the canvas, the main canvas. Twinkles are just occasionally like I'm just drawing 2 points. What is it? Are they both the same colour? Blue. Oh no, a white one and a blue one. Slightly larger, slightly smaller. Stroke weight is like how thick the point is going to be. These are all P5 library functions, by the way. So that you just occasionally get the sense of something going on in the background. It looks kind of like in Star Wars when you see like ships fighting, things like that in the distance. You see these little explosions of colour and light. That's what that kind of looks like. And I've called that system the twinkle system. So we want that to happen. So I'm just imagining, what am I doing? Just to keep you vaguely aware. So I'm wanting to create this grid, this kind of like editor thing. So it's going to be black though, and it's going to have stars in the background. So, whoops, there's my home screen. There we go. Oh, we're back in brackets. Right. So we want the twinkles. Here's the bottom starry layer. Here's the planet layer. So maybe I don't want that. The player ship I don't want. And we don't want any of this input. And this is where we render to the screen. So maybe we just don't want to do that. We don't want to render the ship, and that's a top starry layer. Okay, this is a little tricky because I've got these layers, and some of them that I want there, and some of them I don't. I need them to happen in a particular order. It's a little bit tricky. I'd have to like switch some of them on and some of them off. So what I'm thinking is no, I can't cheat and just use all of this stuff here. We need to reuse it more cleanly. So I want to say something like, if game mode 0, do that. Else if game mode is 1, so that'd be ordinary playing mode, do all of this as usual. There we go. And it's a good idea, just in your comments, if you've got a bracket that's far away from another one, let's just remind us what it is. End of game mode 1 main game. Right. So we do always want a delta time, I guess. We want the music system. Okay. So I need a game mode. Oh, it's huge. So let game mode equal 1. Main game equals 1. Editor mode 0. Hopefully everything's just working as it was previously, which it's not. What have I done here? Something like an extra bracket or something. Game move is not defined. Oh, I've written to game move somewhere. I should have kept track of what line the game loop is on. Legacy ship, it's just under here. Render ship, nope, it's above there. Ah, here it is. Game move, game mode. Well done if you spotted game move. That's 10 points to you. Right, draw. How long have we got? Oh, about 3 minutes. Then it'll be half an hour gone already. I think about half an hour. Right, so this is on 222, I remember that. Right, if game mode 1, do that as normal. Game mode 0. So well, let's just make sure that works. And what I need to do is just take in the starry layer, that kind of stuff. Oh, it's still not working. What have I done? Game, oh my god, did I just... Apparently I've added an E to the end somehow. Oh my god. I've got a reward here. Surely it's going to work, yes. Okay. So let's see if we can go into editor mode. I fancy trying this with a key input. So where's key input? Here we go. Let's just write something here. Testing. If key is oh no, I need key pressed. How do I do that? In P5. Let's just do that here. Function key pressed. I think that's right. Then we want to say if game mode equals 0, game mode equals 1, else game mode equals 0. There we go, so a quick toggle game mode for testing. Right. Yeah, so we should start in ordinary game mode, and then if any key is pressed, I should, yes, go to another mode. So yeah, nothing's happening basically in the loop now. So it's like a pause. I've invented like a pause. Press it again and we start up. Oh, I'm also pressing the keys. There we go. Okay. So we've got that working at least. So I got nowhere near doing an editor yet, but at least in this first video you've got an idea of the kind of project that I'm working on, and we've seen something of the code so far. And I've got to remember, I'm not in tutorial mode, so I'm allowed to just like code along and just kind of explain things, I guess. Right. I hope you've liked that. Let me know in the comments if you like this kind of video, or you've got any suggestions for the game. That'd be really interesting to hear your ideas, and then maybe incorporate a few. Thanks very much for watching. Possibly see you next time.